Hello, quilt artisans. My name is Shonda, and welcome to my channel under the Needle Quilting and Crafts. It is Thursday, and I'm actually making a video. Although I'm not beholden to make videos on Thursdays anymore. I'm just going to make them whenever it happens to be Thursday. And what am I thankful for? Where's my gratitude coming from? I'm just happy that the party is over. My 4th of July party is over. It's finished. I'm so glad. I really didn't want to do it this year. But Adrian really wanted to. He's a social person. I'm not. I'm like, let's take the money we would use for this party and do something else. But he really wanted to. And it's really the only event that we throw at our house every year. So I kind of got to let him have it, right? So it's over. It is over. The last time I did a video was on the 27th of June. So, and what today is, what, the 10th? So it's been almost 2 weeks since I made a video. And I have not done a whole lot. I mean, I did a lot, but I did it in a very short amount of time, and then I did absolutely nothing. So the day I did my video, I did some sewing that day. I did some sewing the following day because I did a live with Katie, and I know that there were other people. I think it was Janice, Katie and Janice, I believe. We did a live, and I was very productive during that live. I got a lot done, but I really haven't sewn much since because that was that Saturday. And I think no, that's not true. I sewed that Sunday also as well. But then Monday was like hardcore work. Tuesday was work. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I took those days off completely. Or was it Tuesday, Wednesday? I can't even remember. But I had 2 days where I basically didn't do anything. I just didn't do anything. And then I went like full court press to party prep and getting everything ready. Because I just wanted to give myself some time to sew. Then I wanted to give myself some time to sit still. And then I wanted to give myself the time I needed to get the party started. So the party was Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I did absolutely nothing. I ended up taking the day off work on Monday even. I did absolutely nothing. And Tuesday, Wednesday, today, it's been basically just work. I've done a little bit of crochet here and there, but I have not been down here like sewing. But I do want to show you guys what I did and did not get a chance to work on. I still got these two open gate quilt projects that I need to finish getting quilted. So I still do have these that I need to complete. But like I said, they're ready. They're basted, they're ready to go. So they're easy projects for me to just kind of, how did I have this folded? Pick up and just kind of go. So I'll probably work on I'm showing you several things, and these are the things that I'm planning on working on this weekend. I do want to sew this weekend. I'd like to get 4 hours in. That would be great. If I can get 4 hours Saturday and 4 hours Sunday, that would be even better. But that might be asking too much. But it would be great if I could get 4 hours in on both days. And then I still need to get this project. I need to complete the quilting on this sucker here and get this bound. And these are basically things that I should be able to get done in 3 hours. So like these, to complete the quilting and get this bound, about 3 hours. To complete the quilting and get this bound, about 3 hours. So I am considering these being the projects that I focus on this weekend. But I do get distracted, and I do have some other stuff over here. I have 2 whole quilts that I put together. Before I took the time off for the party, I put together 2 full quilts. Well, sort of. So on one of them, I've made all the blocks. And I laid the quilt out, and I decided which blocks go in which row, that type of thing. So these are my blocks. That's one. Two. I can't show you, I'm not going to show you all like 20 blocks, but And this is basically using a fabric line that I loved from eBond. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I loved this fabric line. And then I had this print here that's not from the line. So everything is from the line except for this gray. This is a gray, I believe it's a grunge 108 that I bought like a yard of a long time ago that I like to use for my backings or background fabric. So like I said, I've already got my rose set, right? So these blocks are row 1. I didn't have my little thingies with me at the time. I'm going to go ahead and put them on today. But I didn't have my, when I was doing this, I didn't have my little numbers with me. I just had my pins. And I didn't feel like, because I laid my quilts out upstairs on my living room floor because it's a nice large space where I can put everything and kind of move everything around. And I had left these down here and I didn't feel like going back to get them. So I just used multiple pins. So like this is row 1, it has row 1 pin. You know, this is row 2, it has 2 pins. But I need to go in and take all these pins out and put my little numbered squares on there. You know, I've got row 3. And then we have rows 4 and rows 5. So that would be another thing that I could do. I could sew these into rows and then sew the rows together into the top. That would be something else that I can work on. That would be great as well. But I really want to get these 2 done because I have to get at least one of these done before I can work on the new project that came in the new Open Gate Quilt subscription, which I am over the moon about. I'm over the moon about that project. So I told myself that I can't start the new project until I at least finished one of the older ones. So I definitely plan on getting one of these done, just if nothing else, so I can start ironing and cutting out the other project that I'm so excited to work on. So yeah, so I've got this. This project here, the quilt pattern is called 2M, the number 2, the letter M. And this pattern is from Via Rosa Designs. Their patterns, unless they've changed them, their patterns are only $2. And they tend to not use a ton of fabric, which is another reason why I like them. They're very economical quilts to make because they don't use a lot of extra fabric. You know, sometimes, you know, you look at a quilt pattern and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to get 40 fat quarters to make this twin size blanket. That's a lot of fat quarters. And that could be a lot of money. If you're paying, you know, market rate for a fat quarter, you're paying $4 for a fat quarter. So times 40, that's $160 worth of fat quarters. That's a lot of money. They don't really do that over at Via Rosa. Things are a lot more economical in how they put their quilts together so that you get something that looks complex, right? But didn't cost you a ton of money to make. So I believe this project took, I'm trying to remember because I modified mine, because the normal quilt was square. You made 25 blocks for a 5x5 design. I don't like square quilts. I prefer them rectangular. So I did 20 blocks instead, but I believe that it was, oh my God, 10, I think it was 10 fat quarters. Oh God, I can't remember. Do I even know where the pattern is? Oh, I think this is it. Okay. So you needed 13 fat quarters to make 25 blocks. Technically, you could make 26 blocks. So since I was just making 20 blocks, I used 10 fat quarters. So 10 fat quarters and 2 yards of background. Of course, I didn't need the full 2 yards because I'm not making as many blocks. And then my quilt, because this quilt does have an optional border, I have not decided if I'm going to add an optional border or not. If I do add an optional border, it's going to be this background fabric that I used, most likely. Either that, or if I have some of this yellow left over, I might use that. I haven't decided. But yeah, there's that. But yeah, so my quilt with no border would be, I don't even know, 80 inches long by 70. How big are these blocks? I don't even know how big these blocks are. Hold on. What is this? This is like a 16-inch block. So that's 70, 64. So 64 by 80 is what my quilt will be. Or thereabouts, without a border, 64 by 80. Yeah. And I will be backing this with fleece. I do have a gray fleece blanket. I don't think it's down here right now, but it's very similar to this other fleece blanket that I'm going to show you. But yeah, I just bought a fleece blanket off of Amazon, and that's what I'm going to be using. And that's what's going to go on the back of this. Because the fleece blanket was like $15. And I just feel like using a fleece blanket is a very economical way to make a quilt. I don't care if people agree. I would have gone to Joann's and bought some fleece. That was an option before Joann closed down. So now that Joann is closed down, because I wouldn't mind just going to Joann's, and you can get fleece sometimes for $4 or $5 a yard, $6 a yard, and get 2 or 3 yards of fleece. And fleece is already 60 inches wide, so it's already wider than quilt and cotton, so it's easier to get a back that fits. So that definitely would have been a consideration at one time. Another thing that I am considering is that I know that I had bought some DIY fleece blankets from Joann back a couple of years ago. So I do want to go and look at that collection to see if I had anything that works with this color palette. Because if I do, then I might use that as well. But that's just me, trying to figure out what I'm going to use for a backing. That's really not all that important. It's either going to be some fleece that I got from Joann, from a DIY blanket, a no-sew fleece blanket. I'd have to put 2 pieces together, or I will be using the fleece blanket that I got off of Amazon for $15. So we'll see. Honestly, if I can, I don't, it doesn't matter. And I did one more quilt there's another quilt top that I finished. I ended up putting this together during the live, with Katie and Janice. And I believe there was someone else who joined in, but I can't remember everybody's name right now. But we had a good time. I was very productive, as I said. And what I had done was the day before, this quilt pattern is called Faster 14 is what it's called, right? And it's by Sam Hunter. And I believe that I had talked to you guys about it in my last video, and I told you guys that I was going to do it. Is that? No. Anywho, I was looking for the full pattern, but I'm not seeing it right now. I just have the components. I don't have I don't have the cover of the pattern right now. I don't know where it is. But basically, this is your quilt, right? All these pieces, right? And so what she has you do is she has you make some half square triangles. She has you make, well, basically you make some half square triangles of different sizes. And then you basically lay the whole quilt out on the floor. and then you put it together like a puzzle. And I'm going to show you mine. And I had no choice, because once I laid it out on the ground, if I picked it back up, I was going to lose where everything was. So I really didn't have a choice but to kind of put everything together, because it was going to basically sit on my living room floor until I was done. So on the 27th, I put my half square triangles together, and then I laid everything out on the floor. And then on the 28th, while we were sewing live, I sewed this quilt top together. So I'm going to show you guys this quilt top. I'm pretty pleased with how this puppy came out. Yeah. So it's hard to see where things go together because of the construction and how it's done. It looks like you did a lot, but really it's all in how you sew the quilt together. Other than that, it's really just half square triangles, rectangles, and squares. But I'm over the moon about this one because I love the fabric line. This fabric line is called Kismet by Art Gallery. And I do need to figure out how I'm going to back this quilt. Now I have two options. I do have because my quilt right now, I think it's about 49 by 63, because I have not added any borders. I am going to add, I've got like some leftover fat quarters that I did not use in the quilt top. And I'm going to take one of those fat quarters and do a very small border. The quilt pattern has you cut 1 1/4 strips for the inner border and then 2 1/4 strips for the outer border. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing 1.5 inch strips to make one border, and that's probably all I'm going to do. And that's really just so that I get I want my full quilt. You know, I don't want everything getting cut off here. I want the full look. And I believe that I'm certain that one of the fat quarters that I did not use is black with a very small print on it. And so I think that will work well. So I will cut my fat quarter into 1.5 inch strips and put the border on. And then once I have the border on, I'm going to back it. And I have two options. I've got another fleece blanket, Amazon. This came from Amazon. And so it's got this nice kind of rose pink in here that ties in really nice with the pinks in the pattern. But when I bought this, I forgot that I had a gray piece of cuddle. And so now I'm not sure if I want to use the gray cuddle or if I want to use this pink fleece. I'm leaning towards the pink though, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be donating this quilt. I'm not going to be keeping this when this is done because it doesn't match anything, right? It doesn't match anything. So either it's going to work as a work quilt, which is possible for now, or more than likely this will get donated somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'll sell it. I don't know. It's so pretty. It hurts my feelings to give it away, but you know, you can't keep everything. And if you're wondering why I've got this pin in it, it's so that I know where my upper left corner is. It's so that when the quilt is facing me, I know where the upper left corner is. I know the rotation of the quilt. That's just something that I do personally, so I know where the upper left is. because there are some, and I just do it automatically because there are some quilts that you can't tell, and this would be one of them. You know, I if I were to flip this over, I would know what was the upper left or not. So it's just so I can keep that straight. Oh, okay. But yeah, give me some suggestions. I mean, yes, there is gray in here. You know, there's gray. But I think, I don't know, something about the paint. The paint does something. I probably won't add a batting. I'm considering it, but I don't think I'm going to add a batting. It depends. I know for sure if I use the Minky, I will not be using batting. For certain. For certain, I will not be using the batting if I do the Minky. But I'm not sure on the fleece because it's a bit thinner, right? That Minky, you know, because it's actual cuddle fabric. It's actually from Shannon Fabrics, so it is the thicker version of it. It's up there. I actually have two different Minkies. I have a super thick gray, and then I have a thinner gray. So I don't know what the difference is, but I'm trying to decide. Why is it so dark? It's really dark, and it's just really dark in here today. I think I've got my lighting messed up. Apologies. But, yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. I mean, I've got some crochet stuff I've been working on, and I've got some choices to make as far as how I want to finish this quilt. Let's see. Where's the only thing I've been working on, crochet wise, I have not done much. I have not done much at all. But I've picked this up a few times, and I've done a few more rows of this little blanket here. And I also spent some time reworking the colors because the initial way that I was going to do the colors was not going to work. I was not going to have enough yarn potentially, and I did not want to be playing yarn chicken the entire time I was making this blanket where I'm completely every row conscientious of how much yarn I'm using. I mean, yes, I still am in a way, but not like in a way that's going to make me crazy, right? I know that I'm using about 10 grams of yarn for each row, and I've just been tracking that here. So like when I first got the skein, it was 101.04. After the first row, it was 90.67. After the next row, it was 81.06. So I know I've used about 20 grams to make 2 rows, which is where I should be. That's what I've calculated, right? And so that's kind of where I want to stay. Originally, I had myself doing 10 rows of each color. That's cutting it close, right? 10 rows of each color is cutting it close, especially since I'm weighing it with the label. And I have this extra little piece of paper in here. But yeah, that just would have been way too tight with the yarn for me to do 10 rows of each color. So I had to change it to 9. So I had to refigure everything. And while I was doing that, I also played with the order of the colors a little bit as well. So, you know, it was just a lot going on. It was a lot going on. And I still don't understand why my blanket doesn't look anything like hers. I guess just the way that we crochet, she must crochet extremely tightly. She did use it, but I still don't get it because I believe she used a DK weight yarn. I'm using a worsted weight. So maybe using the DK weight changed the stitch definition a little bit. I don't know. Or maybe I just crochet a little bit more loosely than she does. Although I am using a hook size smaller than what the yarn recommends in order to kind of get some of that stitch definition that she has. Because, I mean, you probably can't tell, but look at, you see how hers actually look like rows of peas? Like, look how tight that is. Like that green strip right there. Like, look how tight that is. Like mine doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that. You know, it just doesn't. And so I'm thinking that she crocheted her stuff super, super tightly, very tightly. But I don't believe she used a tiny hook though. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have all of that with me, but if I'm not mistaken, she used a DK weight yarn and she used the hook that the yarn recommended. But I think she just crochets just much more tightly than I do if you just look at her stitches, I guess. So at first I thought I was doing it wrong. There is that. I've made quite a few mistakes in this blanket here. They're all in the same space. I don't think they're noticeable in the overall blanket, so I did not frog anything. But here's one. So there's supposed to be 4 stitches here. And I only have 3. But you can't even tell now. So I did not, and I did that a couple of times. It wasn't just once. There were a few times. There was at least two that I can recall where I did not do the full 4 stitches because it's supposed to be 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. And I did 2 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, or 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, something like that. But I didn't go back and fix those mistakes because, like I said, I don't think that they're obvious. So I'm not going to worry about it. But that is the only crochet thing that I've worked on. Now that the party is over, I will be picking my star blanket back up. I wanted to wait until after all of that was done because I've got to figure out where I left off and I have to relearn that stitch pattern, right? Because I got to a point, you know, after I've been working on it so much that I didn't really need to look at the pattern anymore. And now I definitely do. And I need to figure out where I left off. So I didn't want to pick that back up until I was ready to kind of work on it fully. And I'm there now. And I'll probably start it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, on the one day on the weekend, I'll pick it up and I'm going to figure out where I left off and get started back on that. Because I know it's going to take some time to finish. I know it's going to be like probably 10 hours of crochet just to finish it, just to finish the repeat. And then I have the border and I have to figure out what I want to do for that. Because I don't know if I want to do a reverse single crochet border because it's going to take me forever. If you've not done reverse single crochet before, also called the crab stitch, CRAB stitch, you work backwards, which is counterintuitive to how we do crochet normally. And so once you get a flow going, you do kind of, okay, I got a flow. You kind of get a little rhythm going, but it's a pain. And I'm not sure if I want to do that or not. So I got to figure that out. But I'm not really worried about that. I got plenty of time to think about that because, like I said, it's going to take me 10 hours minimum just to finish the pattern repeat. So given that, I got plenty of time to think about how I want to do the border. But that's really what I've been doing, what I've been working on. Life still lifing, you know. I have my good days. I have my bad days. I have my ups and downs. But I will say, you know, being really busy does help sometimes, even though you're really tired. When you're really busy, at least you don't have time to think about things. And so you can pretty much just, you know, There's no time. There's no time to think. And if you don't have time to think, you don't have time to be down about anything. So in that sense, it was a good time because I was too busy to think about anything. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. For those of you who have not seen my Open Gate Quilt subscription unboxing, another thing that I will be working on is the pattern that came in that, and there is some applique involved. I will be doing the applique, but it's this little project here, which I am over the moon about because I am loving the fabric that Monique selected. So I would like to get that ironed and cut and organized. I would like to get that done. That would be great. That would be great. But I have to finish one of these before I can start on that. So who knows? Maybe I got stuff to do tonight. Won't be doing it tonight. Anywho, guys, it's been a time. But party's over. Return to normalcy. And I'm excited. I'm going to run because I need to tinkle really, really badly. But thank you guys for watching. A like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.